jumping into AI stuff again. We've been chatting about what we looked at over the weekend.
Yep.
You looked at a few things, I looked at a few things, and we decided that what we wanted to talk about today was really just sharing a new model that is relatively new to the market. A lot of people are talking about it. We hadn't had a chance to really play with it. And yeah, so we just thought we'd explore a little bit. And that model being Gemini 2.5 Pro.
And who released that?
From Google, yes.
Sorry.
And as of today, which is May 12th, that is a free model, which I thought is interesting for such a heavy, it's a research preview type of model. And I haven't really put it through its paces yet. Are you familiar with Gemini 2.5? Have you played with it at all?
I have, yeah. I think I've got one. It's a shorter episode where I played around with it. But yeah, I have played around with it quite a bit. The thing that I really liked about it for coding is that it, at least in my experience, had 1 million token context. And I think over the weekend, I had context caching that really helped when you're working with a big project. So for example, we were talking about the AI Tools Lab. So that's AI-tools-lab.com site. And as we add episodes, it's getting bigger and bigger. And I was running into issues with Sonnet 3.7's context, where I don't seem to have those issues with 2.5 Pro. So I don't know if it's the caching of the contents or the context window that's helping, but it's certainly, it's unlocked a whole bunch of more in development. So bring it all together for me. So that's about all I've played with, to be honest. I haven't touched it for anything other than just coding.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I do remember you said you had just tried it out really quickly.
I think it was brand new at the time, and I didn't even know what was special about it.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought we'd pull up the demo that I put together to kind of show what Gemini can do. Although, like I said, I kept it very basic. But let me share my screen just to give you a little bit of background on what this is. Ryan, are you familiar with a Lissajous figure?
I feel like I've seen this in high school, but that's a long time ago now. But yeah, no, not so much. I recognize this pattern that you're showing to me, but that's about it.
Okay, let's watch this video real quick and I think there should be some audio coming through as well.
There is, in fact, yeah.
I saw this on Reddit over the weekend. I was just browsing Reddit, drinking coffee one morning, and I don't know, captivated by this. And it got me down a rabbit hole, of course, of what are these Lissajous figures. I've never, for some reason, just never really, it wasn't a word that I was familiar with. But then I think like you, I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen stuff like this before. I just didn't know what that it was called then. Anyway, fun little video demonstration here. And there's a few other videos and animated GIFs that I came across on Reddit that, yeah, just again, got me thinking about these in general. And there's a bunch of, I actually did a quick search. There's a bunch of other mathematical figures, mathematical like visual stuff like this that you can create.
Awesome.
Too, that I kind of want to go explore.
Oh, wow. That is fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, and then if you've ever looked at an oscilloscope.
I have, yeah. And it definitely does feel like an oscilloscope.
Yeah. So anyway, what I thought I would do is, since Gemini 2.5 Pro is currently free, I thought I'd just see if we could somehow reproduce one of those Lissajous figures as a demonstration, like in an animation, just like a simple HTML page.
It seems like a good way to learn. You're trying to learn the physics of it.
Yeah, exactly. I would have loved having something like this when I was going through like math and science.
Oh, absolutely. On a TI-83 or something like that, I'm sure I've done something similar to this and had a really hard time with it.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, here's the prompt that I've given it. You can see it says, generate a single page HTML, JavaScript, and CSS demonstration of a Lissajous figure as an animation, including several variables that the user can adjust. This web app should be simple enough to host as a GitHub page. I haven't put it on GitHub Pages yet, or made it a GitHub page, but that was obviously what I was thinking.
It's like static HTML is what we're getting at.
It's nothing really fancy going on here, so we might as well put it someplace that people can play around with it if it's going to work. So 2.5 Pro is a thinking model, and you can see here it's what it was doing. We can even open this up to explore what it was thinking. I will begin by designing the HTML structure, and there's some sliders and number inputs. Then thinking through what to do with the CSS, how it's going to draw the figure on the screen, the canvas of the screen, how to handle some of the animations.
Ooh, here we go.
Getting into some of the fancy math that I definitely don't remember, but probably learned in high school. And then after it's gone through its thinking, we've got our output here, just basic HTML with some
This feels like something
CSS.
I'd have to pay Wolfram for, a Wolfram Alpha kind of thing. This is fantastic.
Yeah. So it's not a super long output here in terms
Right.
of file size. I'll just scroll down to the bottom here. So anyway,
That's not
pretty
bad at
simple
all.
stuff. So
4 or
what I
5
did,
underlines kind of thing. It doesn't look very long.
no, let me see if I've got it open here in VS Code. And
Okay.
I'll look down here. It is
Oh, not even.
226.
Fantastic.
Yeah, pretty small. And the result of it is this here.
That is really cool. And if you refresh this page, does it start like this or?
Let's see. No, starts off like that.
Oh,
Yeah. I think I gave it some data.
gotta get some purple.
Made the stroke of the line a little thicker here.
I like this. I don't recall you asking for line width or speed. That's cool.
No, all I did was just request that there's some variables to adjust, including several variables that the user can adjust. And I'm pretty impressed with this.
Oh, I didn't even realize amplitude figured in. It was just frequency.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
So anyway, math and science and coding all coming together for Gemini 2.5.
Yeah, teaching learning tool for sure.
And
This model, so how fast was that to create something like this? How long did it take?
it wasn't that slow. I think it was, we can run it again. It's just doing it a new one.
Now, it feels, it's still emergent, but it feels like people are starting to talk about tokens per second. It's like the speed everyone's talking about. And I don't know how relative it is because it depends on the context. But I'm starting to wonder about whether speed matters or latency, how long it takes for something to get to you. It seems to be one of those things. It's now another metric that we're thinking about.
Yeah. I've got a timer here on my phone, so we'll see how long it takes to get us to a final result.
This would take me days.
Is it ahead of me?
It's already faster than me.
Jeez.
It's just flying. Now, I wonder if that's because they're in preview, but this does seem awfully fast. Because each of these lines has got to have, that's a lot of tokens per line. Wow. That was quick.
Yeah, so
10 seconds?
We'll have to throw the code's done. It's still outputting its explanation.
Okay, gotcha.
I had the code completed in 29.6 seconds.
Phenomenal.
And I guess we can maybe just grab this code. Let's see if this looks any different than our first version.
It does look a bit different. Some of those variables look different. And then to run it, are you just using the... So I learned a new trick, npx space http-server. Are you on the Ruby side, the Perl side? How do you host a static HTML site?
In terms of having a web server to view it?
Yeah, just locally.
Usually I like the Python web server, but because this is just basic HTML.
Just open it.
Fair enough. We don't need it. We can just come in here, and I named that one.
You got to remember that. Yeah, it's built into the browser.
Yeah, so if there was more complicated stuff going on, you'd have to do that. But
that is a little bit different.
Version 2.
Right.
It's not animated automatically, but can bring it to life.
Wow, that's impressive. The speed, I think, is the main thing. Like that model not only had the reasoning, but it also had the code, and at the end had that explanation. That was actually quite a bit going on. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed. Gemini 2.5 Pro, yeah, free. It's hard to argue with free.
It really is, yeah. The other thing, too, before we go, I want to show you is at the bottom of when you get your output down here in the code.
Right. What do you do with this after you got it? So do you paste it in cursor or what have you? Gotcha.
Yeah. And let me go over to the other one that we had going because I think it was a little easier to demonstrate. But the bottom of the code here, I had an option to view it in. There's a couple things. We can export it to docs.
Right.
Put it into Gmail, put it into Replit.
Interesting.
And Docs opens up in Google Docs, which I have to say is probably the last place I'll ever open up my code. But maybe, I don't know.
I think I've been through audits where this kind of thing is important, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. You can also put it into an email, which, again, maybe there's a use case there. I don't necessarily have one, and it's not like it's going to be...
It's not like it's loading this live in your email.
Yeah, I was going to say, emails have HTML these days, but not displayed as HTML.
Yeah.
That's not the way I'm going to do it.
Interesting.
And then replit, which I'm not going to do. And then there's some other things over here in terms of this double check response and listen. I'm not going to do the listen. I guess we can try the double check, but I have a feeling it's just going to come back with.
I will say I do enjoy the notebook LM style of voice, or the voices that they have. I find when reading content, it's, I won't say enjoyable, but it's listenable, which is saying a lot for computer generated voices, especially when they're injecting ums and ahs. The voice is quite good.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. That was really all I wanted to show today, was just
awesome.
to do a quick introduction into Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is currently in preview, currently free, currently pretty good with code, pretty fast to first token, according to
and a lot of context.
Right. Big context window. And yeah, so go check it out.
Go try it out. Let us know what you think.
Yep. That's all I got for today. So we will see you on the next one. Thanks.
Awesome. That was fantastic. Bye, folks.